I used to think my grandma Aurora was an open book, her life laid bare in the stories she shared like sunlight spilling through the kitchen window. With her blue eyes sparkling like a summer sky, she would gather us around the table, her laughter wrapping around us like a warm blanket on a cold winter's evening. I remember the way her hands moved gracefully as she spoke, the silver rings on her fingers catching the light, the testament to a life filled with memories and love. Each tale she told felt like a cherished heirloom, lovingly polished over the years, revealing the warmth of her spirit and the depth of her wisdom. But after she passed, I discovered that there were chapters of her life that remained hidden, secrets tucked away like whispers in the corners of her heart. It was during one of those quiet afternoons in the attic, dust motes dancing in the beams of sunlight, that I stumbled upon a wooden box. Its surface worn and weathered, nestled between forgotten trinkets and the remnants of days long gone. The moment I lifted the lid, a wave of nostalgia washed over me, and there it was, a leather-bound diary, its cover cracked with age, yet still resilient, as if holding on to the stories within with all its might. As I held the diary in my hands, the scent of aged paper and ink filled the air, an intoxicating blend of history and mystery. My heart raced as I traced my fingers over the faded letters etched into the leather, feeling an inexplicable connection to the woman who had raised me, nurtured me, and filled my life with love. I could hardly believe that this simple, unassuming object held the key to understanding a part of her life that I had never known. With each turn of the page, my breath caught in my throat, revealing a world rich with emotions, sacrifices, and a love that defied the boundaries of time and circumstance. The words danced before my eyes, and as I began to read, the gentle cadence of her voice echoed in my mind. Grandma Aurora had woven her thoughts and feelings into the pages, revealing a tapestry of secrets that mirrored the complexities of her heart. I was taken aback by her stories of forbidden love during a time of war, tales of bravery that spoke of a young woman willing to risk everything for a moment of connection. It became clear that she was not just the nurturing figure I had known, but a courageous soul who navigated the turbulent waters of life with grace and resilience. Each entry was a revelation, peeling back the layers of my grandmother's existence, exposing the sacrifices she made that reverberated through generations. I felt a profound sense of awe and sadness as I realized that the grandmother I had adored was a woman shaped by experiences far beyond my understanding. There were moments of joy, the sweetness of love found and lost, and the heavy burden of choices made in the shadows of history. It was a reminder that beneath the surface of our everyday lives lies a wealth of untold stories waiting to be shared. As I turned the pages, I could feel the weight of her legacy settling around me, the echoes of her laughter mingling with the tears she had shed. I understood now that the love she had shown us was not just an instinctive nurturing. It was a fierce, protective force born of her own struggles and triumphs. The diary held the promise of revelations that would transform my understanding of her, illuminating the complexities of family ties that had shaped our lives in ways we had never fully grasped. With each word, I felt an urgency to share these discoveries, to honor her memory by unraveling the threads of our history. I wanted to weave her hidden legacy into the fabric of our family story, ensuring that her sacrifices and joys would echo through time, reminding us all of the power of love, resilience, and the connections we forge across generations. If you'd like to walk this path with me, to delve into the layers of Grandma Aurora's life and uncover the secrets that bind us, I invite you to stay close. Together, we will explore the depths of her heart and spirit, a journey into the past that promises to illuminate the present with understanding and grace. In the quiet embrace of Willow Creek, a small town cradled by rolling hills and lush fields, life flowed gently like the meandering river that wound its way through the heart of the community. The year was 1938, and the air was rich with the scent of freshly turned earth, mingling with the sweet fragrance of wildflowers that danced in the warm summer breeze. Here, time seemed to stretch, allowing the days to unfold in a serene rhythm, where each moment was steeped in simplicity and warmth. In this idyllic setting, young Aurora lived with her family on a modest farm that had been in their lineage for generations. The sun would rise, casting a golden glow over the fields, heralding the start of another day filled with possibility. Aurora, with her long, chestnut hair cascading down her back like a waterfall, was often found wandering the expansive pastures, her imagination ignited by the world around her. She had a quiet yearning, a gentle restlessness that whispered to her amidst the familiar lullabies of nature. While her heart was anchored in love for her family, it also longed for something beyond the horizon. Her father, a sturdy man with hands calloused from years of labor, tended to the crops with unwavering dedication. He had a way of coaxing life from the soil, nurturing the land as if it were a beloved child. Aurora admired him, often watching from a distance as he worked, marveling at the strength and gentleness he embodied. Her mother, with her warm smile and soft laughter, filled their home with an inviting light, crafting meals that brought everyone together at the wooden table. The aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering herbs wafted through the air, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. Aurora shared a special bond with her older brother Thomas. He was a dreamer, his head often in the clouds as he spoke of soaring high above the earth as an aviator. He would take her to the open fields, lying on the cool grass, pointing up at the sky, and filling her heart with stories of daring adventures and distant lands. His passion ignited a spark within her, a desire to explore, to understand the world that lay just beyond the confines of their small town. Yet, at the same time, she felt a tinge of sadness, as if the vastness he spoke of was a beautiful dream meant for someone else. Then there was Lily, her younger sister, whose delicate spirit was a soothing balm to Aurora's restless heart. Lily found poetry in the simplest of things, a fluttering leaf, the sound of rain tapping on the roof, the way the stars twinkled in the night sky. She would often recite verses she crafted, her voice a soft melody that danced through their home. Aurora cherished these moments, finding solace in her sister's words, as they painted the world in colors she had yet to see. Daily life was woven with small, tender moments that felt monumental in their simplicity. Mornings began with the soft cling of dove and the golden rays of sunlight spilling through their kitchen window, where the family gathered for breakfast, laughter mingling with the clinking of utensils. Afterward, Aurora would grab her favorite book, a well-worn volume of fairy tales, and find her special spot beneath the old oak tree. The sun would filter through the leaves, casting playful shadows as she lost herself in tales of magic and wonder, her heart dancing with the character of adventures. As the afternoons melted into evenings, the family would come together again, their voices rising and falling like the gentle waves of the nearby river. They would share stories of the day, dreams for tomorrow, and the comforting weight of togetherness wrapped around them. After dinner, they would often sit outside, the sky transitioning from a vibrant sunset to a deep indigo sprinkled with shimmering stars. Aurora would gaze up, her heart swelling with a mix of admiration and longing. The vastness of the universe seemed to beckon her, whispering promises of exploration and discovery. Yet in the quiet corners of her heart, there lingered an awareness of the shadows that danced along the edges of his peaceful existence. The world outside their little town was changing, rippling with uncertainties that hovered like storm clouds on the horizon. Though Willow Creek remained untouched by the chaos, Aurora could sense the tremors of something larger unfolding. It was a subtle tension, a delicate thread woven into the fabric of her daily life, nudging her to question the boundaries of her reality. Even amidst the laughter and love that filled their home, there were moments when Aurora felt an ache within her, a whisper that there was more to life than what met the eye. She would often find herself at the edge of their farm, staring at the road that led out into the unknown, the distant sound of a passing train stirring something deep within her. What lay beyond those fields? What stories awaited her beyond the borders of Willow Creek? As she stood there, the wind tousling her hair, Aurora allowed herself to dream. She imagined herself as a traveler, a seeker of truths hidden beneath the surface, her heart a compass guiding her through uncharted territories. Yet with each passing day, the weight of expectation began to settle upon her shoulders. The responsibilities of family life tugged at her, intertwining with her aspirations, creating a delicate dance between duty and desire. In these moments of reflection, Aurora would often retreat to her secret place, the attic of their home, filled with forgotten treasures and memories. It was there, surrounded by the remnants of the past, that she felt a sense of connection to the lives that had come before her. Each dusty box, every faded photograph, whispered stories that begged to be uncovered. Little did she know, this yearning for understanding would lead her down a path she could never have anticipated. As the days turned to weeks, and weeks into months, Aurora's world remained a tapestry of love and laughter, but the undercurrents of change were ever present. The seasons shifted, painting the landscape in hues of gold and crimson, yet the warmth of family continued to be her anchor. She was a girl, caught in the delicate balance of innocence and awakening, her heart quietly yearning for the adventure that awaited her beyond the horizon. With each new day, she carried the promise of her dreams, along with the weight of her family's legacy, unaware of the trials that would soon test the very fabric of their lives. But for now, in the embrace of Willow Creek, young Aurora's spirit remained unbroken, her heart full of the love that would one day guide her through the storm. As the summer days faded into the soft cues of autumn in Willow Creek, a subtle shift began to weave itself into the fabric of daily life. The familiar sounds of laughter and play echoed through the fields, yet there was an undercurrent of tension that had not existed before. The air felt thick with unspoken worries, and conversations at the market turned from the usual banter about crops and weather to hushed whispers about distant lands and the rumblings of a war that seemed to inch closer with each passing day. Aurora could feel it in her bones, this gnawing unrest. The radio, once a source of joyful music and lively stories, now crackled with reports of battles and brave soldiers, tales that felt both far away and too close for comfort. Her father's brow furrowed as he listened, his hands gripping the edge of the table, while her mother would glance toward the window, eyes clouded with fear as if she could see the storm brewing on the horizon. Thomas, on the other hand, found excitement in the tales of adventure, his youthful spirit ignited by the prospect of heroism in a world that had suddenly become larger and more daunting. "Can you imagine, Aurora?" he exclaimed one evening, his eyes alight with fervor. "The chance to fight for something greater than ourselves, to be part of history." Aurora tried to share in his enthusiasm, but her heart felt heavy. What did it mean to fight? What would it cost? The idyllic dreams she'd harbored about love and freedom began to intertwine with darker thoughts, and she could no longer ignore the gnawing question that simmered within her. What would happen to her family, to the life they had built together? The days grew shorter, and the chill of autumn crept into their home, but the warmth of family love remained a steadfast comfort. Yet every night, as she lay in bed, Aurora's thoughts raced with uncertainty. She wondered about the world beyond Willow Creek, a place she had long yearned to explore. Now that desire felt tangled with a sense of urgency, as if time were slipping away, leaving her behind in a world that was changing too rapidly. Then one fateful afternoon, while helping her mother prepare dinner, a crisp knock echoed through the house, drawing Aurora's attention. Her heart quickened as she moved toward the door, a strange feeling washing over her. When she opened it, she was met with the sight of a young man in uniform, standing tall and solid against the autumn backdrop. His eyes, piercing and thoughtful, held a depth that made her breath catch. "Good afternoon," he said, his voice calm, yet charged with an unspoken weight. "I'm Elias. I've just arrived in town." The air shimmered with an electric tension as Aurora felt an inexplicable pull toward him. There was something different about Elias, something that set him apart from the boys she'd known all her life. The way he stood, the quiet confidence in his demeanor, and the gentle yet intense curiosity in his gaze intrigued her. "Welcome to Willow Creek," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "What brings you here?" He hesitated, as if weighing his words carefully. "I'm here to help my uncle. He's in need of some extra hands on the farm." In that moment, Aurora felt the world around her fade away, leaving just the two of them suspended in time. She sensed the weight of his past, shadows that lingered behind his eyes, secrets held tight beneath the surface. As the days passed, Elias became the familiar presence in Willow Creek. His laughter mingled with the sounds of the farm, and he worked alongside her brother, bringing a newfound energy to their home. Aurora found herself stealing glances at him, captivated by the way he moved, the laughter that danced in his eyes when he spoke. In his presence, her insecurities began to soften, replaced by a burgeoning sense of adventure. and she felt herself drawn further into a world that was suddenly more complicated than she had ever imagined. But beneath the surface of this budding connection, the world outside continued to shift ominously. Letters began to arrive from distant relatives, some filled with news of enlistments, and others carrying tidings of loss. Each envelope felt like a weight placed upon her heart, a reminder that the innocence of her childhood was slipping away, replaced by a harsh reality that loomed closer every day. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow through the kitchen window, Aurora found herself alone with Elias. They sat beneath the fading light, the air thick with unspoken words. "What do you think about it all?" he asked, his voice low, breaking the comfortable silence. "The war, I mean. Does it scare you?" Aurora hesitated, searching his eyes for understanding. "It does," she admitted, her heart racing. "It feels like everything we know is changing. I've always dreamed of adventure, but this, it feels different. It feels dangerous." Elias leaned closer, his expression serious. "It is dangerous, Aurora, but sometimes danger is a part of finding ourselves. You have to decide what you're willing to fight for." His words resonated deeply within her, igniting a fire she hadn't realized was smoldering beneath the surface. She wanted to fight for her family, for the love that had always held them together, but she also felt an undeniable call to explore the world beyond the confines of Willow Creek, to seek out the truths hidden in the shadows. As the days turned to weeks, the tension in the air grew palpable, and Aurora's internal world became a tempest of emotion. She found herself grappling with dreams of love intertwined with the harsh realities of war. Elias remained an enigma, a magnetic force drawing her deeper into a realm of uncertainty and intrigue. Every stolen moment with him felt precious, yet she sensed the storm brewing around them, ready to unleash its fury at any moment. The excitement she felt when she was near him was tempered with the weight of inevitability. The war was no longer just a distant echo, it had arrived at their doorstep, threatening to reshape the very essence of their lives. And so, Aurora stood on the precipice of change, caught between the innocence of her past and the swirling chaos of the future. She felt the world shifting beneath her feet, a dance of light and shadow, and she knew that the arrival of Elias would forever alter her path. As she peered into the depths of her heart, she realized that the choices ahead would not only define her own destiny, but also intertwine her life with the mysteries and dangers that lay ahead, waiting to be uncovered. As the leaves began to turn and autumn painted Willow Creek in hues of gold and crimson, Aurora found solace in the quiet moments stolen away from the prying eyes of the world. The weight of uncertainty pressed down upon her shoulders like the darkening clouds above. Each day, the whispers of war crept closer, curling around the edges of her life. But it was in the shadows of the old church, hidden from view, that her heart began to bloom anew. Elias, with his gentle demeanor and earnest gaze, drew her in like the promise of spring after a long, harsh winter. They met in secret, their meeting shrouded in the soft glow of twilight, where the world fell away and it was just the two of them. In those moments, the air was thick with unspoken words and the electric thrill of connection. Aurora felt a warmth she hadn't known she craved. Elias listened, truly listened, as she spoke of her dreams, her fears, and the weight of expectations that felt unbearable at times. He held her hands, grounding her, and in his touch, she felt a flicker of hope against the backdrop of an encroaching storm. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the landscape, Elias took a breath that seemed to carry the weight of the world. "Aurora," he began, his voice low and steady, "there's something I need to tell you." She sensed the gravity in his words, the urgency that made her heart race. "I'm not who you think I am," he continued, his eyes searching hers for understanding. "I was born in Germany, raised as a scientist, but when the war began, I found myself questioning everything I once believed." He paused, the silence between them heavy with unspoken fears. "I deserted my post. I cannot go back, and I am hiding from both sides." The revelation struck Aurora like a thunderclap, shattering the fragile illusion of safety she had wrapped around them. "Why?" she whispered, the word barely escaping her lips. "Because I couldn't be a part of a machine that destroys lives," he confessed, anguish etched across his features. I was tasked with finding a powerful encryption device, an artifact that could change the tide of this war. I've been searching for it ever since. If the Nazis get it, they will use it to obliterate our chances of peace. Aurora's mind raced, the pieces of a dangerous puzzle starting to align in her thoughts. "And you think it's here?" she asked, her heart pounding. He nodded, the intensity of his gaze unwavering. "My late mentor, a clockmaker, left clues behind. I believe the artifact is hidden beneath the old church, where he often spoke of a labyrinth of secrets." In that instant, Aurora felt the world shift beneath her feet. She was no longer just a girl lost in the shadows of war. She was now entwined in a mission that could save countless lives. Yet the weight of that knowledge threatened to crush her spirit. "What if we're caught?" she asked, fear creeping into her voice. Elias stepped closer, his presence a steadying force. "Then we fight for what we believe in. I cannot do this without you, Aurora. You know this land, its whispers and secrets. Together, we can uncover the truth." Days turned into weeks, and as they delved deeper into their shared mission, the bond between them grew stronger. Aurora found herself captivated, not just by Elias's bravery, but by his kindness and the way he saw her, not as a girl confined by the expectations of her family, but as a partner in a fight for something greater. They spent hours deciphering the clues left behind by the clockmaker, each riddle unearthing layers of history and hope. Yet, as their connection deepened, the shadows of war loomed ever closer. There were murmurs in the town of strange faces appearing among the familiar. Men and women who lingered too long, their gazes too sharp. Aurora could feel the tension in the air, the mounting fear that gripped the hearts of her neighbors. It was as if the very fabric of Willow Creek was being frayed by the encroaching darkness, and with every passing day, the sense of urgency grew. One evening, as they huddled in the dim light of the church's attic, Aurora's hands trembled as she wrote in her diary, pouring out the turmoil that churned within her. "I fear for Elias. I fear for my family. How can I protect them both?" The ink flowed like the tears she held back, each word a testament to her growing resolve. She wrote of her love for Elias, a love that felt both exhilarating and terrifying, and of the secrets they shared that bound them together in a world that sought to tear them apart. As the days turned into nights, Aurora began to notice the signs, the way the townsfolk exchanged nervous glances, the hushed conversations that ceased when she approached. It was no longer just Elias who held her heart. It was the people she loved, and the realization that they could be caught in the crossfire of a war that didn't care about their dreams or their lives weighed heavily on her soul. One night, while they were poring over the vital clues that would lead them to the artifact, a sudden noise shattered the stillness. The creak of the floorboards echoed ominously, and Aurora's heart raced as Elias stiffened beside her. "Someone's here," he whispered urgently. The tension crackled between them, the air thick with the scent of fear. Aurora's mind raced. She had to act. "We need to hide," she breathed, her voice barely a whisper. They quickly moved to a concealed corner of the attic, their breaths shallow as they listened to the footsteps, drawing closer. Through the darkness, the shadows of men were cast upon the walls, their voices low and conspiratorial. "We know he's here," one of them said, the malice in his tone chilling Aurora to her core. "We need to find the deserter before he uncovers what we're planning." The realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. They were hunting Elias, and if they found him, it would mean not just his death, but the end of any hope for stopping the darkness that loomed over them all. In that moment of desperation, Aurora understood what she had to do. She wasn't going to be a passive bystander any longer. She was going to fight for the man she loved, for the family she cherished, and for the future that still held the promise of light amidst the encroaching shadows. The diary became her confidant, a place to pour her fears, her hopes, and her determination as she stepped deeper into the labyrinth of her own heart and the secret mission that lay ahead. With Elias by her side, Aurora was ready to confront the darkness. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and ancient stone as Aurora and Elias descended into the hidden chamber beneath the old church. The flickering light from their lantern danced across the walls, illuminating carvings that told stories long forgotten. Each echo of their footsteps felt like a heartbeat, quickening with the weight of what lay ahead. Her family was gathered in the living room, their laughter ringing hollow in her ears. They couldn't see her, not really. When they glanced her way, It was with concern, their eyes searching for the sorrow they could touch, but they were blind to the depths of her despair. She felt like a ghost wandering among the living, haunted by memories of Elias, his laughter, his dreams, now forever silenced. The story they would tell was one of an accident, a tragic mishap that stole him away. But that was not the truth. The truth was tangled in her heart, a knot of pain that threatened to strangle her. No one would understand the rage that bubbled just beneath her skin, nor the guilt that gnawed at her insides, whispering that she could have done something, anything, to save him. In the stillness of her room, she found herself avoiding mirrors, afraid to see the reflection of a girl who had lost everything. Instead, she turned to the diary, the only safe haven for her broken thoughts. The pages were filled with her grandmother's careful script, but now they became a canvas for her grief. She scrawled lines that were jagged and raw, like her heart, pouring out the pain in a way that felt both liberating and suffocating. The words spilled from her pen, not with the clarity of poetry, but with the fragmented honesty of agony. Each night, she lay in the dark, clutching the artifact beneath her pillow, feeling its cool surface against her skin. It was a reminder of Elias, a piece of the world he had fought to change. But it was also a burden, heavy with secrets that threatened to crush her. She began to see the world through a different lens, noticing the shadows that crept along the edges of her vision, feeling the weight of unseen eyes following her every move. Trust became a fragile thing, easily shattered by the knowledge she carried alone. Days turned into weeks, yet the ache in her chest never dulled. She wore a mask of sorrow, a facade that crumbled only when she was alone. Her family felt the change in her, but they could not grasp its magnitude. They saw a girl mourning a friend, but not the girl who had witnessed the violence of war and the depths of despair. She felt a chasm between them, a disconnection that deepened her solitude, leaving her to navigate the labyrinth of her grief in silence. Amid the sorrow, a flicker of resolve began to take root in her heart, not born of revenge, but of purpose. She remembered Elias's notes, the way he had scribbled ideas and plans, his dreams woven into the margins of his maps. She found herself drawn to his old room, the door creaking softly as she entered the space that felt both sacred and painful. Dust motes danced in the sunlight, illuminating the remnants of his life, a world map pinned to the wall, books stacked haphazardly, and the faint scent of his cologne lingering in the air. As she rifled through his belongings, a sense of determination began to rise within her. She found a small notebook filled with his sketches and thoughts, a coded entry that hinted at something larger, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Her heart quickened as she traced the lines of his handwriting, feeling a connection to him that transcended death. This was her spark, small and flickering, but undeniably real. The Aurora began to study in secret, her fingers brushing over the dusty spines of books in the library, searching for knowledge that would illuminate the path before her. With each visit, she felt a growing sense of clarity, a purpose blossoming amidst the pain. She was still grieving, still lost in the dark, but she was no longer adrift. In the quiet corners of the library, she pieced together fragments of history, whispers of the world outside Willow Creek that had once seemed so distant. She sought answers, not just for herself, but for Elias, for his dreams that had been snuffed out too soon. The artifact remained hidden, a heavy secret she carried with her, but it was no longer just a burden. It was a legacy, a call to action that stirred her soul. And so, Aurora began to walk the delicate line between grief and resolve, her heart a tapestry of loss and intention. She would honor Elias not with vengeance, but with a commitment to uncover the truth, to protect the legacy he had entrusted to her. In the silence of her sorrow, she found the strength to move forward, step by painful step, into a future that was hers to shape, carrying the memory of Elias with her, forever a part of who she would become. Leaving Willow Creek felt like tearing away a piece of my very soul. The familiar sights that once comforted me now seemed like reminders of everything I had lost. I packed my belongings with a heavy heart, each item infused with memories of laughter, warmth, and the unwavering presence of my grandmother. Yet I knew I had to leave. The weight of the artifact and the shadows it cast over my life demanded a new beginning, one far from the prying eyes of those who sought its power. I arrived in the bustling city, a place where the noise drowned out my thoughts, and the crowd offered a veil of anonymity. The sharp contrast between the quaint streets of Willow Creek and the sprawling urban landscape was jarring. Here, I was just another face in the crowd, lost among strangers. I found a modest room in a boarding house, sparsely furnished, but filled with a sense of possibility. Each morning, I awoke to the sounds of the city, the clang of streetcars, and the hum of distant conversations, all reminding me that life continued, even as mine felt suspended in grief. Determined to honor Elias's memory, I immersed myself in his writings, the diary and notes he had left behind. They became my guiding stars, illuminating the path ahead. I scoured libraries, seeking out dusty tomes and obscure texts, often losing track of time as I deciphered the complexities of the artifact. What I initially thought was merely a device to encrypt messages revealed itself to be so much more: a key capable of unlocking intelligence, capable of decoding enemy communications and anticipating their moves. Each discovery fueled my resolve, transforming my sorrow into a purpose that burned brightly within me. As days turned into weeks, I honed my skills in observation and discretion, becoming a self-taught spy in this new world. I learned to blend into the background, gathering information in the crowded cafes and bustling markets, always on the lookout for anything amiss. I would sit at a corner table, pretending to read, while discreetly listening to conversations that drifted my way. I practiced decoding messages, piecing together fragments of information that could reveal crucial insights about the enemy's plans. Each success, no matter how small, bolstered my confidence, reminding me that I was capable of far more than I had ever imagined. Yet beneath the surface of newfound strength lay a deep loneliness. The secret life I led was isolating, and the emotional toll weighed heavily on me. I missed the comfort of my grandmother's embrace, the warmth of her stories that had once filled my heart with hope. In the quiet moments, I would find myself clutching Elias's diary, allowing the words to wash over me, drawing strength from his dreams and aspirations. He had entrusted me with this knowledge, and I couldn't let it slip away. The threat of discovery loomed over me like a dark cloud. I could feel the eyes of the enemy watching, searching for the artifact and its secrets. One evening, as I navigated the crowded streets, I caught sight of a figure lingering at the edge of my vision. The way he moved, the intensity of his gaze, sent shiver down my spine. I ducked into a narrow alley, heart racing, as I pressed myself against the cold brick wall. I held my breath, straining to hear his footsteps recede. In that moment, I understood that danger was never far away, and the stakes had never been higher. Despite the fear that gnawed at the edges of my resolve, I pressed on. Each close call only fueled my determination. I clung to the belief that I was not just protecting an artifact. I was safeguarding Elias's legacy, the dreams he had envisioned before his life was cut short. I could almost hear his laughter in the wind, urging me forward, reminding me that I was not alone in this fight. As I continued to delve into my studies, I discovered the intricacies of counterintelligence. I learned to read people, to anticipate their actions, and to find safety in the shadows. I practiced my skills in the quiet of my room, crafting elaborate plans to evade detection, turning the tables on those who sought to undermine me. With each passing day, I felt myself transforming, not just into a guardian of secrets, but into a woman of strength and resolve. The city became my sanctuary and my battleground. I wandered its streets, absorbing its energy, finding solace in the anonymity it offered. Yet, I remained ever vigilant. The chill of danger was a constant companion, and I often felt the weight of the artifact pressing down on me, a reminder of the responsibility I had assumed. Each time I decoded a message or gathered vital information, I felt the exhilaration of victory mingled with the fear that it could all vanish in an instant. In the depths of my solitude, I found clarity. I was no longer just Aurora, the grieving girl from Willow Creek. I was becoming a force to be reckoned with, a protector of a powerful secret that could alter the course of the war. The shadows of my past were no longer chains binding me. They were the foundation on which I would build my future. As I stood on the cusp of my new reality, the city lights twinkling like stars in the night sky, I felt a surge of hope. I was driven by a love that transcended loss, a determination that pulsed through my veins. The path ahead was fraught with peril, but I was ready to face it head-on. For Elias, for my grandmother, and for the countless lives that hung in the balance, I would uncover the truth, embrace the power of the artifact, and protect its legacy, no matter the cost. As the war raged on, Aurora found herself at the heart of the storm, her skills honed through necessity and the weight of her memories. The artifact, once a heavy burden, became a beacon of hope. It was in the quiet moments, hidden among the shadows of the bustling city, that Aurora transmitted vital intelligence to the Allies. Each successful mission brought an exhilarating thrill, but also a haunting reminder of what was at stake. The thrill of outsmarting the enemy, of thwarting their plans, filled her with a fierce resolve. She could hear the echoes of Elias's laughter in her mind, spurring her on, reminding her of the life she was fighting for. With each passing day, the tide of the war began to turn. Aurora's contributions bore fruit as strategic victories unfolded, one after another. She felt a sense of camaraderie with her fellow spies, each of them carrying their own burdens, their own stories of loss and determination. Late nights spent deciphering codes, and early mornings filled with the adrenaline of espionage became the fabric of her life. Yet, amidst the tension, there were moments of quiet triumph, where the weight of her actions settled gently upon her shoulders, bringing a fleeting sense of peace. Then, one fateful day, the announcement came. Peace had finally arrived. The war that had consumed so many lies and dreams had drawn to a close. Relief washed over Aurora like a warm embrace, yet it was tinged with bittersweet sorrow. She thought of the faces she would never see again, the friends made and lost in the chaos of conflict. Exhaustion enveloped her, but within that fatigue lay a profound sense of accomplishment. She had played a part in shaping history, in protecting the future, and in honoring Elias's legacy. In the aftermath, Aurora chose to return to simplicity. She found herself drawn back to a quiet place, reminiscent of Willow Creek, where the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant laughter of children filled the air. Here she could breathe, let the weight of the past settle into the earth, and begin anew. Her days transformed from the frantic pace of espionage to the nurturing rhythm of community. She opened her home to those affected by the war, providing solace, education, and a listening ear. The pain she had once carried turned into a resource, a wellspring of compassion that flowed freely to those in need. The artifact, once a secret kept hidden, now occupied a cherished space in her life. It found a home inside a beautiful music box, a relic of love and sacrifice, its melody a sweet reminder of Elias. Each note played was a whisper of their shared past, a testament to their unwavering bond. Aurora treasured it not as a burden, but as a symbol of resilience, a reminder of the strength found in vulnerability and love. It spoke of the journey they had taken together, the sacrifices made, and the dreams that against all odds had been realized. Years passed, and Aurora blossomed into the wise grandmother the narrator knew, a figure of warmth and serenity. Her hair, now silver, glinted in the sunlight as she tended to her garden, nurturing both the plants and the spirits of those around her. With each story she shared, she wove the lessons of her extraordinary past into the fabric of her everyday life. She embodied strength, compassion, and grace, her laughter echoing like a soothing balm for those who saw her presence. The narrator often sat at her feet, listening intently as Aurora recounted tales of resilience and sacrifice, of love that transcended the horrors of war. Those stories were not just about victories, they were about the quiet moments of humanity that shone through the darkness. The lessons learned from the struggles shaped not only Aurora, but also the generations it followed. The narrator began to understand the profound depths hidden beneath the surface of her grandmother's seemingly simple life. Each wrinkle on her brow told a story, each laugh line marked a moment of joy, and every tear shed was a testament to her extraordinary courage. As the seasons changed, so too did the lives of those around her. Aurora's garden flourished, just as her spirit did. The community she had nurtured grew stronger, united by shared experiences and a collective desire for healing. She became a beacon of hope, her wisdom illuminating the path for others. Those who had once been lost in the shadows of war found solace in her presence, and together they rebuilt their lives, brick by brick, heart by heart. In the twilight of her years, Aurora reflected on her journey. The war, the pain, the sacrifices. Each moment had been a stepping stone leading her to this tranquil life. She understood now that her past was not a weight to bear, but a legacy to honor. The artifact, once a harbinger of anxiety, now served as a reminder of the love she had fought for, the lives she had touched, and the peace she had helped to usher in. As she sat on her porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Aurora felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The echoes of her past mingled with the laughter of her grandchildren, weaving a beautiful tapestry of life filled with love, sacrifice, and resilience. In that serene moment, she knew she had become not only a guardian of her family's history, but also a living testament to the enduring power of compassion and hope. Sitting in the dim light of the afternoon, I'd opened the worn pages of Grandma Aurora's hidden diary once more. Each turn of the page felt like a gentle whisper from her past, a soft echo that brought her closer to me, even in her absence. The familiar scent of aged paper wrapped around me, stirring memories I thought I have long since tucked away. I had always thought of her stories as mere tales from a distant time, woven with the charm of fairy tales and childhood innocence. Yet, as I delved deeper into her words, I began to see them for what they truly were. Maps to her soul, rich in emotion, depth, and the quiet heroism that defined her life. There were stories I'd heard countless times, yet now they resonated with newfound significance. The adventures she recounted, once filled with whimsical characters and fanciful plots, transformed into profound metaphors for her extraordinary courage and resilience. I could almost hear her voice, warm and inviting, as she spoke of bravery, not just in the face of danger, but in the small moments of life where love and sacrifice intertwined. Each tale became a reflection of her journey, a testament to the strength she displayed while navigating the tumultuous seas of her past. As I read about her struggles and victories, I could see the threads of her life weaving into my own, connecting us across generations. Her battles were not just hers, they were universal, echoing in the challenges I faced in my own life. The doubts, fears, and hopes she expressed mirrored the feelings that often cloud my heart. In her words, I found a companion, a guiding light that illuminated the path I was on. Aurora had not only been my grandmother, she had been a warrior, a survivor, and through her stories, she had gifted me the courage to confront my own trials. The diary became a sanctuary for my thoughts, a place where I could reflect upon a legacy she left behind. It dawned on me that her true legacy was not merely the secrets she had kept or the artifacts she had preserved, but rather the unconditional love she had poured into every word and every story. Her wisdom spilled forth like a gentle stream, inviting me to drink deeply and understand the richness of life's experiences. It was then that I realized the profound depth of her teaching, that life is not just a series of events, but a mosaic of emotions, connections, and shared histories. As I closed the diary, a wave of peace washed over me. I felt as if I had uncovered a treasure far beyond the physical items she had left behind. I had discovered a legacy of love and resilience, a force that would continue to inspire and guide me in the years to come. I understood that each story she shared was a precious gift, an invitation to honor her memory by living fully, embracing vulnerability, and sharing my own experiences with those around me. In that moment, I made a silent promise to share her stories, her hidden truths, so that they might resonate with others as they had with me. I envisioned gathering my family and friends, the next generation, and recounting the tales that had shaped my understanding of love and sacrifice. I saw her spirit reflected in their eyes, a spark ignited by the tales of their grandmother's extraordinary life. As the shadows lengthened and the light faded, I reflected on the importance of uncovering, honoring, and sharing our hidden stories. Aurora had shown me that every life is a narrative worth telling, filled with laughter, tears, dreams, and despair. Her example inspired me to embrace my own story, to weave my experiences into the fabric of our family's history, ensuring that the lessons of love and courage would be passed down like a cherished heirloom. In the quiet of that afternoon, I felt the weight of grief intermingled with gratitude, a bittersweet acknowledgement of all that Aurora had endured and all that she had gifted me. She had faced the world with unwavering strength, and in doing so, she had taught me the power of vulnerability, the importance of connection, and the beauty of resilience. As I placed the diary back on the shelf, I promised to visit it often, to keep Aurora's spirit alive in my heart and in the hearts of those who would come after me. Her life was a beacon of hope, a reminder that love transcends time, that every sacrifice is a seed planted for future generations. I vowed to honor her legacy, to carry forth her stories, and to live my life in a way that would make her proud. In this commitment, I found my purpose, the deepened appreciation for the stories that shape us, for the love that binds us, and for the courage that propels us forward. Aurora's life, her diary, and her enduring spirit would forever guide me, ensuring that her legacy of love, courage, and wisdom continued to illuminate the path for all who came after. In the quiet corners of our lives, stories often linger, waiting to be shared. Aurora's journey, marked by courage, resilience, and an unyielding love, shines brightly in the shadows of history. She transformed from a self-taught spy into a beacon of hope, her heart open to those affected by the ravages of war. Each act of bravery, each sacrifice made out of love, crafted a legacy that transcends time, reminding us of the profound connections that bind us all. As we reflect on Aurora's life, we uncover not just the tales of her triumphs, but the hidden emotions that resonate within her words. Her diary, filled with memories and lessons, speaks to the essence of our shared human experience. It reveals how her strength was not just in the battles she fought, but in the quiet moments of kindness she extended to others. This is the heart of her story, a reminder that our true power lies in our ability to love and to uplift those around us. If Aurora's story touched your heart, then it has fulfilled its purpose. Stories like hers are not merely echoes of the past, they live on through us, igniting sparks of compassion and understanding in our lives. Each time we share these narratives, we breathe life into the memories of those who came before us, ensuring that their experiences shape our present and guide our future. As we honor Aurora's legacy, I invite you to consider your own stories. What experiences have shaped you? What lessons have you learned from the heights of your own ancestors? Please leave a like if Aurora's story moved you, and subscribe to our channel to continue hearing these heartfelt tales that connect us all. Your thoughts matter. Share them below, and let's keep this dialogue alive. Now, as we come to a close, I leave you with a question to ponder. What secret do you believe Grandma Aurora held closest to her heart? Reflect on this, for within it lies the key to understanding not just her story, but the stories we all carry within us. Let us celebrate the strength of love, the power of resilience, and the beauty of connection. Together, we can ensure that the legacy of Aurora and the countless others like her continues to inspire and uplift generations to come.